Hello. 8 weeks ago, I had my stomach removed because I had stomach cancer. I asked all of you, the incredible community, if you had any questions for me because, not having a stomach is kind of a big deal. So let's answer some questions. Can you still burp without a stomach? Absolutely. Burping and drinking water were the two things that I was scared about losing the most, and I'm so happy I can still do both. I don't understand how you can live without a stomach. Where does food go? So now I just chew a lot more and swallow it, and it goes straight down into my intestines. And that's why I have to chew a lot more and make it a lot tinier, because if I don't make it really tiny and if I don't make it like the consistency of applesauce and no taste, it might get stuck in my intestines, but it just goes straight down and then starts to loop back and forth. So yeah, that's where my food goes. Straight to the intestines, baby. Do you count chews? I do not count chews. I mostly just pay attention to what it feels like inside my mouth before I swallow it. And that way I sort of know that it's in a good place where I probably won't have any pain inside my intestines. Do you feel hungry and full like you used to? No. Somebody asked me recently, do you feel satisfied? And my response to that is similar to this one, which is I don't feel satisfied because I don't feel hunger. The most I know that I'm hungry and my body needs nutrients is when I get really mad and oopsie, I should have been eating more all day. Are you able to eat yet without having to think in great detail before taking a bite? Yeah, no, not really, Rabbi. For anyone wondering, that was the rabbi that came to see me after my surgery, so thanks, Rabbi. I know that I can take a big enough bite that I can chew it all, swallow it in a certain way that feels normal to before surgery. It's still a pretty big thought when I do take a bite. How much weight have you lost? I went into surgery at 200 pounds, and then I came out of the hospital at 183. So I lost 17 pounds, and then I went for my 3-week checkup, and I had gained 4 pounds, which was crazy to the surgeon. She had never seen anything like that before. It's actually been a pretty incredible weight journey, and I've been incredibly lucky that I can keep down food, ingest calories, process calories. The whole system just kind of works. So I feel pretty great about the weight loss journey. CDH1 mutation holder here, also City of Hope patient. Shout out City of Hope. Have you worked with a nutritionist? Worked with a nutritionist. I worked with actually 2 different nutritionists. The one at City of Hope was incredible. The nutritionist that I worked with before was still kind of hung up on the gastric bypass of it all, but I don't have a stomach, so there's no gastric bypass. It's just literally no stomach. There isn't any day-to-day plan that the nutritionist is giving me. It's more of just these are the things that you should probably stay away from. These are the things that you should probably try to eat most of to get the most bang for your buck out of every bite. So definitely use the City of Hope nutritionists if you can. I hope you're okay with that CDH1 mutation. It's a big thing to take on. So all the best to you. Good luck. How's your wife and children adjusting to this new challenging medical reality? My wife is an absolute rock star, and my toddler does not give a flying factory. My wife has been incredible. She's kept me alive, truly. And the new reality is existing. So there's no other choice besides this new reality. So we've adapted, and it's been pretty incredible to see us all sort of just get used to the new normal. How are you spending time with your toddler, but still taking care of your incisions? This is something that I thought a lot about before my surgery, and I was no one's talking about how to deal with a toddler after a massive surgery. This is incredible and difficult, and I don't know how to do it. So really, we had a lot of help. We had a lot of friends come through to just sort of hang out with my daughter as much as possible until my daughter got kind of annoyed with it. And then we had to spend time with her alone, and just too many people in the house coming through, in and out, in and out, in and out. But the friends that helped me were incredible. The family that helped me was incredible. And, but mostly it was I had to tell her that I couldn't pick her up, right? I had to tell her that, give me a hug, and, we couldn't play as much as we wanted to. But, now about 8 weeks out, I'm totally back to normal with her. We were just playing and having fun yesterday on the couch, and it feels incredible. I'm lifting her up again. It's the best. I shouldn't have lifted her up as soon as I did 5 weeks ago, but Yeah, having a toddler is really hard for so many reasons. But once you get past the incision pain, you can really just, in my opinion, go back to normal. So it's been a lot of fun. I love my daughter so much. Why couldn't you go through chemo to remove your cancer? Why such an extreme start? The reason why we went with complete stomach removal was because it's such an early stage that actually chemo isn't needed. Chemo is more for like lymphatic spread and reducing the size of a tumor, but I didn't have a tumor. I just had 1.7 millimeter wide cancerous lesion inside my stomach. The biggest reason why we had to take out the whole stomach was because my type of cancer was hereditary diffuse gastric cancer, and that meant that it's not in a single location or anything like that. So if we had left the stomach in longer, the likelihood of it spreading and encasing my entire stomach and spreading to my entire lymphatic system was pretty high. So just take out the whole stomach. And since it wasn't in my lymph nodes, or at least localized lymph nodes, that means that I didn't need chemo and my staging was very low. And that's why we took out the whole stomach and no chemo. What do you miss the most about pre-op days? I miss drinking water for like a minute and a half straight. That's what I miss the most. I knew I would miss it the most, so I enjoyed it every time I chugged water, but it's just not the same anymore. I can still chug water, I guess, but it's only like 2 big gulps at a time, and it goes through my system a lot faster. But I miss water. I miss like really chugging water and having it completely engulf your stomach. You know, that beautiful, just hydrating feeling of everything's going to be okay. The nice, beautiful engulfing of coolness in your stomach. I miss that a lot. Maybe TMI, but can you fart? My wife should answer this question because I absolutely can fart. It is so much worse than it used to be. It is a thick fart that settles in the air and then doesn't go anywhere. And then something about the digestion that has changed makes it so much worse, depending on what I've eaten, that I need an air purifier in my room, not even in case of emergencies, just like on call. So yeah, I can still fart. And anyone that goes through a stomach removal procedure like this, be prepped, man. Be prepped, because your loved ones will feel the agony of you farting. Has your recovery been better, worse, or what you expected? My recovery has been incredibly better than what I expected. I thought that I would be completely intolerant to basically every food that I liked. I thought that I wouldn't be able to like pick my daughter up for much longer than I have been. I thought that I would be much weaker than I am. I thought that I would not understand the new feeling inside my own body, how much I had to pay attention to my own body. I thought that that would be way, 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 way worse. And by God's grace, it has been so much better than what I expected. Has your perspective on life changed at all? I would say that my perspective on life has changed a little bit. I've become more connected to my Judaism. I don't think that that is necessarily a one-to-one of my battle with cancer and my intense life-changing experience of going through a complete stomach removal. But there are times I tend to sort of like there are definitely times that I tend to look into like very exhausting and annoying situations, like if my daughter is screaming for no reason because she's a toddler, and just sort of like really, really, really love those moments in a way that I don't think I did a year ago before all of this terrible stuff happened. And so yeah, I guess my perspective on life has changed. That doesn't mean that I'm still not annoyed by like annoying things, but it feels so much better to be in a circumstance where I like have control over what's happening rather than being completely out of control. So I think that's been the perspective shift, where I'm just like, excited by doing more annoying tasks that I have complete control over. I guess my perspective has changed. Damn it. I didn't think that. Husband has stomach cancer and needs partial stomach removal. Is that process similar to yours? First of all, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you and your husband are doing okay. Yes, my process is very similar to that, but your process is more similar to a gastric bypass. And the effects of it are more similar to a gastric bypass. My stomach being completely removed has similarities to a gastric bypass, but since there's literally no stomach, some of the things that a stomach can do, even if it's partially there, are still more than what I can do because I don't have a stomach. So I would look up symptoms of gastric bypass. I would look up definitely diet change and experiencing eating less and things like that. I guess it is similar to mine. Yeah, I would say that's pretty similar to mine because you talked about stomach cancer and the stomach is partially being removed. So I would just look up like symptoms, listen to your care team, talk with people about gastric bypass since there is going to be some sort of stomach there, but I hope everything's okay. Sorry to hear that. How are you managing getting enough calories? I love this question. I manage getting enough calories by starting eating basically right when I wake up. So I have a yogurt or some overnight oats. And then right after my daughter goes to daycare, I eat something else. And then about an hour later, I eat something small that's also protein heavy. And then after that, I have regular lunch. And then after regular lunch, I have something else that's small. So like I'm constantly eating small things that are like around 200 calories in order to make sure that I'm hitting my calorie intake a day. So it's been a very big shift, but I really do think that I'm feeling pretty good about it and understanding the new rhythms. How are you navigating your chewing and swallowing? I chew a lot more now and I swallow with much more intention than I used to. Basically, like I'll take a bite, like a bigger bite, and then I'll just chew. And then instead of swallowing the entire bite all at once, I'll like parse it out into halves or maybe even thirds. And it takes a lot of like thinking to not swallow the way I used to when I had a stomach. But it's a very intentional thing now. And I'm almost 3 months in. So apparently by the year mark, I won't think about it anymore. But yeah, I take a bite, I chew for like a really long time, and then I swallow in portions instead of like take a bite, swallow the big bite, and let the stomach handle it. I don't have a stomach, so I need to handle the digestion myself in my mouth. Feel like food gets stuck in your esophagus? No, I don't think so. I do feel sometimes that I like, oops, I shouldn't have swallowed that big bite. But like the food getting stuck in the esophagus would just like, I think, be pushed out. So now what happens is when I get full, it's sort of like it gets to here, and then it's like, don't eat anymore. Don't eat anymore. Don't eat anymore. That's my esophagus talking. But but no, I don't. Since I chew so much, I don't feel like anything gets stuck in my esophagus. Because it wouldn't necessarily feel any different than when I did have a stomach. I think that it would just like more block my digestive tract if it was too big. So the feeling of getting stuck in my esophagus is just like the feeling of full now. And I just sort of like wait a few minutes until I can take another bite or chew more so it doesn't feel stuck or full anymore. How do you stay hydrated? Great question. The reason why this is a great question is because a lot of people told me that I wouldn't be able to stay hydrated. A lot of people told me that I would lose the ability to just drink regular water, but I don't. So now instead of chugging a lot of water, I basically like will do 2 big gulps, wait about 2 minutes, do 2 big gulps of water if I want to, or I'll just parse it out throughout the day and just look at my pee and see if I'm hydrated. Usually that's a good indicator. But yeah, I drink water. Sometimes, like in the very beginning, I was using liquid IV, but I don't really use that anymore. I just drink water in a different pace, a lot like how I eat now. Do you now have bile reflux up into your esophagus? I got that with no gallbladder. I do get bile reflux into my esophagus. The way that I mitigated that, and I'm so sorry that happens to you, the way that I mitigated that is by getting a wedge pillow and like just sleeping on that for the first month or two. And now I am not sleeping on the wedge pillow anymore, but I'm still trying my best to like not eat 30 minutes or so before I lay down. And then if I do feel a little bit worried about it, I'll just like sit up and let the food go down a little bit more before I actually fall asleep. So I have gotten bile reflux a few times. It really sucks, but it is no more or less worse than like how bad my heartburn was before, because that was terrible. And now I can use the experience from that into my bile reflux world. So that's pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. I'm still over here if you're watching this on YouTube. Consider subscribing. Thank you so much. Talk to y'all soon.